You are getting ready to watch something unique in the entire world.
What if this was a perfect world?
Imagine a world where trans people were completely understood.
Imagine a world where we were respected just for being who we are.
Imagine a world where we were not targets of violence and discrimination.
Imagine a world where radical conservatives didn't use trans issues to try and win elections.
To understand this perfect world, it looks like we will need translation. Good evening and welcome to Translation, the world's first trans show by the community educating our allies. It's 9 p.m. Thursday, August 5th. I'm Tony Lima, CEO of Arianna Center, Translatina, Florida. We are proud to sponsor this groundbreaking broadcast coming to you from South Florida to our American and worldwide audience. We need your support. Please help us as this is the first show in the world to include a complete cast of trans voices. And speaking of those trans voices, let's meet our cast. Let's welcome Misty Eyez. She is the Director of Transgender Services, Women's Services, and Training Education for SunServe, one of South Florida's most important LGBTQ plus nonprofit service providers. She is a highly celebrated and award-winning entertainer, MC, and journalist. Good evening, Misty.
You forgot that I've been on 8 television shows, and I'm an actor. I'm just kidding. Speaking of, let's welcome our anchor, Rajee Narine-Singh, a famous transgender activist, actress, author, mystic, and reality TV personality. She is Asian American descent from Trinidad and Tobago. I said that completely wrong. She has appeared in more than 35 television shows across the world. Please welcome Rajee.
Oh, I love it. Great to be here. Let's welcome host Tobias Packer. Tobias is Communication Director for SEIU, Service Employee International Union, and is co-founder of the Trans Collaborative Network. As a proud South Florida native and transgender man, Tobias harnesses the transformative power of storytelling and changes hearts and minds. Welcome, Tobias.
Thanks for that warm welcome. I'm so excited to be here. Now, I want to welcome somebody. Let's welcome Arianna Lint, well-known international Latinx trans activist openly living with HIV and president and founder for Arianna Center. Arianna Center is one of the most important trans-focused service and advocacy organizations in our nation. The nonprofit focuses on services for trans women of color, trans men, and gender nonconforming people in Florida, in Puerto Rico, and in the South. Arianna is also one of the foremost advocates across the country focused on ending the HIV epidemic. Good evening, Arianna.
Good evening, my love Tobias, and welcome to this fabulous show, Translation.
So good evening again. Let's dive right into Translation. At Translation, we will follow amusing social media trans stories. One is #TransLOL. These are tweets, memes, and other interesting moments created by trans people about the trans community. Tonight's trans people are funny, #TransLOL. I don't identify as gender fluid. What do you think?
Well, let's see it.
Oh.
I don't identify as gender fluid. I am gender fluid. I identify as a bitch. That's also. I don't identify as being a large and lovely woman. I am a large and lovely woman. I identify as being skinny. That's it. Like Arianna, the shrinking woman.
Rajee Narine-Singh, trans activist, author, bitch.
There goes not cursing on this show.
Well,
so we get more viewership.
Which isn't a cuss
It's gone.
word.
It's gone.
Regardless of what I identify as, I mean, I really love this meme because it points to something really important. You know, when people say your preferred pronouns, it frustrates me because you know what? My pronouns are he and him.
If you don't prefer them, they are them. Yeah.
Exactly. For training, we use preferred name to people don't make uncomfortable us. But as a transgender person, we feeling who we are. So I don't prefer be a female. I am a female.
If we are going to truly explore the trans community, we must also focus on the news. We will bring you the most important news of the week in our segment called Trans is the News. Trans is the news. P-Town COVID-19 outbreak shows danger to trans community in the Delta variant. An investigation by the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, along with the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, found that 882 people were connected to the recent P-Town outbreak. Of those individuals who were living in Massachusetts, 74% were vaccinated, but reported experiencing symptoms. According to ABC News, the Cape Cod beach town saw a rise in COVID cases over the 4th of July holiday weekend. The summer is high season for P-Town, a favorite destination for LGBTQ people, with hundreds packing into bars, restaurants, and outdoor events like tea dances. Health officials had thought it was a rarity for vaccinated people to get COVID-19. And even if they were infected with the coronavirus, then they could not really spread it to others. It was that assumption that ABC News reported that made the CDC loosen its masking recommendations back in May. P-Town's numbers now offer evidence for the CDC's recent decision to recommend wearing masks indoors yet again.
Oh my God, I thought we were going to finally see the light at the end of the tunnel, but this is very discouraging. I mean, you know, it seems like this is going to be a long haul. I mean, with this variant now, and I think we're going to have to go out in plastic bubbles. Remember the movie The Boy in the Plastic Bubble? I mean,
And the problem is people, they don't realize how the big issue it is. I'm unfortunate, I was in emergency room a few days ago, and I feel how the people, they are in the emergency rooms, and right now I don't see precautions about COVID-19. In the emergency room is a lot of people, they coughing, they doing, and I don't see nothing, and I was there. It's so dangerous, and it's so terrible. The governor of Florida don't look and don't take the actions right now.
I mean, look, we all have a responsibility to each other to do two things. One, first we have to get vaccinated. Vaccinations are accessible, they're free, you can get them basically anywhere. And folks, we have a responsibility to do that for each other. And then also when we're inside and we're in close quarters, we should wear masks, just in case.
It's really that simple. It really is. I think we got a little bit complacent for a few months. I can tell you that I'm one of those people that stopped wearing a mask when I went to Publix, when I went to the mall, whatever the case may be. And that complacency, married with folks not getting vaccinated, have brought us back here. We've backtracked incredibly. So it's important that if you're watching the show and you're not vaccinated, get vaccinated. Make sure your neighbors, your family members, everyone that's around you is vaccinated already, and continue wearing your mask.
Trans is the news. Florida LGBTQ plus Democratic Caucus stands up for the trans community. This week, the Florida LGBTQ plus Democratic Caucus will meet at the Miami Downtown Hilton, August 6th through the 8th. The meeting will bring together the who's who of the Florida Democrats with the conference theme, quote, "Let's Get Loud." The major candidates to run against Governor Ron DeSantis and Senator Marco Rubio will be present alongside leading statewide and local politicians and LGBTQ plus advocacy organizations. A featured program will be called, quote, "The Trans Community Under Fire," end quote, and the panel will be moderated by Nathan Brummer, Caucus Legislative Director, Jason Starr, Litigation Director for HRC, Simone Chris from the South Legal Trans Advocate, and Carvel S. Triplet, Daniel Tilley, from the ACLU, and more. You can get the full details on the LGBTQ plus Democratic Caucus Challenge to, quote, "Turn Florida Blue in 2022," end quote, at their website, lgbtqdems.org. How are we feeling about the the election next year?
Let's turn Florida blue in 2022 is a great motto.
Yeah.
I'm living. Let's get loud is a great motto. I love that they're bringing trans awareness and they're bringing trans people. Nothing about us without us. I love that they're inviting us onto the panel. I have spoken at many things with Nathan Broomer. He's an amazing trans leader. I wish I could go. I'm going to be on a boat.
Well, and I'll just say, Nathan is actually the most senior public official in our state of Florida. He is appointed by the Nikki Fried's office. So it's exciting to see one of our brothers in such a high position. But you know what? Trans folks have been used as a wedge issue to turn out the far right. And you know what? We've got to show up and be loud and when it comes to our voting rights to make sure that they can't use us to get those folks back in office.
Absolutely. That's something that we've been reporting on this show, on Queer News Tonight, that trans is the wedge issue. Very important to not only highlight the issues that when folks are attacking our community, but also to start talking about turning on that vote and turning out that vote in 2022. Because a lot of the time what ends up happening in this state specifically is that people aren't going out to vote. So it's really important to continue having that conversation. And if you're going to the conference, wear your mask. Very important. Continue wearing your mask.
Amen. Amen. Trans is the news. Buck Angel and other trans men launch an attack on trans women. Can transgender people be transphobic? They most certainly can. On their life's journey, many go through periods where internalized transphobia causes shame, guilt, and confusion. But what is understandable is when trans activists start using anti-trans talking points against other trans people in attempts at distancing themselves from other parts of the transgender community. That is exactly what transgender activists and porn star Buck Angel and his friends have done in their Trans Men Fight Back letter, which was recently posted over at Gender Dysphoria Alliance Canada. The letter is a list of anti-trans talking points. The whole point seems to be to distance straight trans men like themselves from lesbian and bisexual transgender women, like Turks and right-wing extremists. They use the transphobic and debunked I'm going to try to say this, help me somebody. Autogynephilia, thank you. Theory of Ray Blanchard presenting transgender women as deceitful sexual perverts. They misgender trans women. They support conversation theories for trans kids and adults. They use the LGB acronym instead of LGBT, a trick normally used by transphobic gay and lesbian people. Signing the letter were Aaron Kimberly, Scott Nugent, Buck Angel, Ken Puri, and Aaron Terrell. These trans men are now actively harming the lives of other transgender people. Other trans activists and actively fighting back against this betrayal. Oh my God.
Tobias, I see you like you are fuming and you're dying to say something. Go for it.
I'm just on behalf of trans men and trans masculine people everywhere. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted. As trans people, we have an obligation to stand up for each other, to protect each other, to fight for each other. And I cannot even begin, I can't, I'm just disgusted to even see this in the world.
We have it hard enough.
Yeah.
Come on, we have it hard enough. We need to unify and stick together. The world is against us half the time. And I am appalled that Buck Angel especially, all of them, but Buck Angel, I'm appalled that he's doing this.
Who is Buck Angel?
A porn star.
And who is a porn star have to talking about the transgender community?
Well, he is a trans
When
porn
people-
star.
Yeah, but you saw his movies?
But also,
But
also-
he don't represent the transgender community and his movies as a porn
but also no one individually represents the trans community.
That is true.
And honestly, on behalf of trans men everywhere, I just want to apologize. I mean, this is horrible. We should never attack each other. We should hold each other up.
But
I
in a
wanna
perfect
ask a
world,
question.
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you
in
were
a
gonna say.
perfect world, trans people would learn to love each other and stop attacking each other. Period. My mind went all over the place. My first thought was, are they trying to be the next Harry Potter movie? Like seriously, are they trying to kiss what J.K. joking ass or whatever? I don't kidding.
J.K.
I mean,
Rowling,
J.K.
yes.
Rowling. That's what it is. J.K. Rowling. Just kidding. Like whatever. I'm annoyed by it, and also transphobia is real, even within the community. Have you heard of Andrew Cunanan, a homophobic homosexual who killed gay people after having sex with them? When you're transgender and transphobic, that is self-hatred
It is.
coming out in your expression, your voice, your whatever. Go ahead.
But also for many trans women, they don't know and they never see one trans man sometimes. You know,
Well, you see them, you just don't know they're trans.
Yes, so many times they are very surprised when I introduce a trans man because they are no. So I think it's education, but also we are no okay to fight each other.
No, but also like not everybody comes out. But for those of us who can, we have a responsibility to come out and be kind to each other. Right? We have a responsibility to represent ourselves and show how diverse our community is and how we can love each other, because the world doesn't always love us, and so we have to love ourselves.
So where does this rhetoric start? I want to understand as the ally at the table, this story to me is horrifying. I've never really understood and never seen this outright kind of attack from trans men directed at trans women. Where does this come from?
I don't even want to begin to think where it comes from. I can't talk about what those people are doing, but I can tell you what we're doing right here at the table is fighting against that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's self-sabotage too, and that whole crabs in the barrel thing, just bringing each other down. Come on, trans guys, like take care of your sisters.
Right.
Like,
And what kind of harm are trans women doing to these trans men? That's what I don't understand.
Really, I
We're
would like to
not.
know one
We're
thing
not.
that the trans women have done against them.
Can someone hug them and say, "Baby, who hurt you"?
Because the trans exclusionary radical feminists are angry because they feel that the trans people have turned their little girls into men. And they're specifically talking about their stud guys.
Yeah.
Their stud guy girls into men, giving them testosterone and whatever. But they have taken, every single one of those guys have goatees and beards.
But this is the thing. Most trans men lived as studs
Yes.
at one time.
I don't even want to say most people did this or most people did that, because honestly, at the end of the day, we all have our own truth. Right?
Yeah.
And we all walk different paths and we all have different journeys. And so, you know what? No one gets to decide who's trans and who isn't, especially those people.
Yeah.
No matter what their journey was, they don't get to decide for me, they don't get to decide for you, and they don't get to say who's good or who's bad. Because you know what? And it's an obligation for all of us to say, shut up.
Well said.
Yeah.
Trans is the news. Trans Collaborative Network announces its first annual conference, August 7th and 8th. The first annual conference by Trans Collaborative Network will be at the CIC in Miami this weekend. And it is especially exciting because the program is free! The conference will include a clinic on gender marker and name changes, multiple workshops, panels, drag shows, HIV testing, and COVID-19 vaccinations. The exciting program will include free lunch and breakfast. Complete information and registration can be found at oh my gosh, I can't say that.
Collaborative.
There's no B, okay.
.org.
Trans Collaborative Network, or just transcollaborative.org.
Thank you, Misty. I don't feel too bad now.
I can read, I
What is
promise.
going
It's
on?
transcollaborative.org, and please come and join us this weekend.
Well, and kudos to you, Tobias, for putting this on with our dear
Absolutely.
friend who we love very much, LJ Woolston, as well.
Yes.
It's going to be fantastic.
There's
We've been
others
hearing
too,
a lot of
right?
buzz.
Scott Migliore, we've got a lot of folks. Yeah.
Awesome. Name them, please.
Sage Rosenberg, Schaefer
Eli.
Barrett. Yep, that's Eli.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've got a whole lot of folks, but we've also got free. So the legal clinic is this. If you need your name or your gender marker changed, we've got lawyers standing by, ready to do that for you. And they're not just going to help you fill out your paperwork. You're going to come and get the process started on Saturday, but they're going to take you to court and be there with you every step of the way so that you are not alone. So please come and join us. Transcollaborative.org.
Oh, wow.
It's so amazing. I need publicize more and go to the event because we have a lot of a lot of clients when they need any change, immigration, legal services and everything, and we're going to help you for that event, so no problem. We be there this weekend.
At Translation, we examine what the trans community as people experience in our world. This segment is called First Impressions of Trans People, What We Face. A new poll released this week showed that more Americans now know a transgender person than ever before. But the poll also show most still don't understand them. So our What We Face topic is, most Americans know someone who is trans, but do they really know them?
Good news. You don't have to know us. You don't have to understand us. And we don't have to understand you. Why on earth would you have a litter of children? I don't understand that, but I don't need to. I don't.
A litter of
A litter of
I
children.
speak from personal experience. I'm the oldest of 7. All of my sisters have litters of children. It's fine. I don't have to understand why you do what you do. You don't have to understand me. All we are supposed to do is love and accept each other.
Tell us
That's
how
it.
you really feel, Misty Eyez.
Ta-da, ta-da. This just did. Girl.
Arianna, tell us about what we face.
Well, right now we face incrementing the COVID-19 and the variants, so we are very nervous, and we have to take care, especially for vulnerable community, people who they are homeless, people who living with any disease or any condition. I think it's so important, and we have to take care about it. So it's in my mind like we have to very careful about it.
You know,
Tobias, you're up.
I'm up. I mean, I think we're at a tipping point here. What's really cool is, you know, when most Americans said that they knew a gay or lesbian person, they were much more in favor of gay and lesbian rights. The complicated thing here is, you know, trans folks, not everybody understands us and maybe doesn't want to understand us. And just going back to what Misty said, you don't necessarily have to respect us.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that really stays in my mind is how hard it is for trans folks to get jobs. I mean, the economy
Very
is
true.
hard enough as it is, but there's not enough infrastructure and support. And I think we need to figure out more about how we can ensure that trans folks have employment, right? Jobs.
Roofs.
Because if you have a job, you have a roof over your head. If you have a job, you can eat, you know? And we got to figure that out.
Rajee, tell us about what we face.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I think to piggyback on what you said, Tobias, to know us is to at least have some sort of bridge going on. I have a lot of friends that aren't LGBTQ. I have a lot of followers that aren't LGBTQ. And sometimes I get questions like, you know, if I post a picture of me with a guy,
Naked.
yeah, not naked.
Well.
but almost. You know, I'll get questions like, well, you know, is he gay? And then I have to find myself explaining, like, well, no.
If he was gay, he wouldn't be attracted to
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I have to explain, you know, I basically sum it up with, my mom always says, for every pot, there's a lid. And so, you know, I just say that just how there's men that are attracted to cisgendered women, there's men that are born that will be attracted to us. You know, so.
Up next, this is our trans issue of the week. Each week, we will focus on what we think the entire trans community is talking about. The 2020 Tokyo Olympics have made history as the first Olympics where transgender athletes have been able to compete. From non-binary soccer player Quinn, who will be the first transgender person to win an Olympic medal, to the trans woman weightlifter Laurel Hubbard, BMX biker and trans woman Chelsea Wolfe, and Alana Smith, who is a non-binary skateboarder, representation is happening like never before. So our translation issue of the week is, trans athletes see the Tokyo Olympics as a watershed moment for acceptance.
Well, I think this is monumental. Anytime that you have a transgender person in the world spotlight, because it's one thing to be spotlighted within our LGBTQ community. It's another thing when you have all of America, all of the
Mainstream.
world, the mainstream. And I think it's just really a powerful thing. And especially to see them exceed and, you know, and in front of the world. So
The amazing thing is that trans is the hot topic right now. Everyone's talking about it, the Republicans, the Democrats, everybody. But trans people have always competed in the Olympics. They have just been closeted and not out as trans. And I think this year, finally, they can be their authentic and truthful selves. And that is a beautiful thing to watch.
And I also just find it so exceptional that it's not just one person in one event.
Yeah.
yeah.
We're kind of everywhere, and it gives at least a small peek into the shades of diversity that we have within our own community, and it's really awesome to see.
But also, it's so nice when you are included in the Olympics, and the committee of the Olympics allow you to compete, and so many hometowns, a stake, they have regulations to make our days difficult. So it's so nice who there be somebody like you and knowing the whole things, but in some sports. So I love it.
I mean, it's just, to see trans people in different places means some young person who is walking that path
Exactly.
sees, I can do it. I'm not excluded.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we can watch the Olympics and know that this year we are included and we are not ostracized. And we can appreciate the man candy. Oh my goodness, there's a swimmer, Darren somebody, Grisel.
From Orlando, no?
Grisel. Oh my God. I already follow him on Instagram. He's just yummy.
Well, you know what's so funny though? I notice our community, we don't talk about it much. And I think, like for me, I usually watch the opening and the close. But just knowing that there's trans representation there, it makes me feel
You
good.
want to watch more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a medal coming home for a trans person.
Oh,
Yeah.
How
so
groundbreaking
thankful.
is that? That's so exciting. And like Tobias was saying, representation matters.
Yes.
That's why this moment is so important, because young trans and non-binary folks are going to be able, LGBTQ young people as a whole are going to be able to see these folks winning medals, bringing medals home, and it's going to be incredibly inspiring for them. Next up, we are going to play a game. This is my favorite part of the show. And learn a bit more about our host.
Oh, no.
We call this Translation Game of the Week. Tonight's game is called Truth But No Dare. Before the show, each host wrote down something that is true about them and something that is not true about them. I can't wait to see these responses. I'm getting ready to read a card as our other hosts guess what was the truth. Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Let's play Truth or No Dare. Yay! So this person's true thing was that they had an alligator with hot sauce.
Wait, read that again?
Their one true thing is that they had alligator with hot sauce. So I'm guessing that
Like
they
alligator
ingested-
bites? Like they ate
ingested
them?
an
Okay.
alligator
That has to be
with hot
Arianna.
sauce. And
That
the
has
one
to be
false
you.
thing is that they had sex in a sugarcane field. Yes, sexy
sugarcane
telenovela
field.
realness.
That has to be you.
I don't know what is the sugar cane feels.
They don't have sugarcane in Alaska,
I was
do
going to
they?
say, not in Alaska, but maybe somewhere in Florida.
forgot that
Mr.
you were-
In Alaska,
Reyes.
they don't have alligators.
Okay, it was in Jamaica. The sugar canes were in Jamaica.
Come on, let's move on to the next person. One true thing.
Okay.
I love translation. I know exactly who this
I
is.
know who this is too.
One false thing, I had a role in a Mexican telenovela.
Oh, Arianna!
But that is a
Arianna
fault.
Lint!
Wait, but you're not
You're not
supposed
supposed
to
to
admit
tell
to it yet.
people.
Anyway,
Ay, ay,
one
caramba.
true thing for this next person is that they speak 4 languages.
Oh.
One false thing is that they've lived in 6 states.
Tobias.
Sick language.
I think it's
Tobias.
Tobias too, but
Tobias.
don't admit to it just yet. The next person,
This
one
is
true
fine.
thing, they attended a woman's college. One false thing,
That's
has
clearly
a
Rajee.
pilot's license. Who do we think it is?
Okay, I think start over.
All right, so then let's go back to the beginning. So
Yeah.
one true thing, who is this person that ingested an alligator with hot sauce? And their one false thing was that they had sex in the sugarcane field. Kind of sounds like a telenovela.
It
Awesome.
has to be. It has to be Rajee.
Sandra Rajee, because last time she had sex in the I-95.
She's having sex everywhere, apparently.
Innocent me. Okay, it's me.
I knew it was Rajee.
The truth is that I had alligator last week. I was filming with German TV, and we were actually filming here at the studio. And then after we finished, the reporter took me to dinner, and we went to Turk's on Federal Highway. It's a seafood place, hole in the wall, but great seafood. And she ordered everything: jumbo shrimp and oysters and clam strips. And she ordered alligator. So I was like, well, let me try it. Now it wasn't the actual alligator on
It's
the
like
plate.
alligator bites.
It was like alligator bites, like the meat, and it was
like
breaded and
no,
fried,
fish or chicken?
and it was a little. It had a little sweet taste to it, and then it was a little spicy. But I enjoyed it. I actually liked it. The sex and the sugarcane fields. Okay,
That's more important.
when I was. When I was in, it's false, but when I used to go to Trinidad to visit my grandparents, I was in my teens. Some of the boys in the village would try to get me to go into the sugarcane
course they
fields
did.
with them. Because, you know, the sugarcane fields are high. So once you go in, no one can see you, and a lot of things happen in those fields.
We had
But
cornfields.
I was too scared because, like, you know, it was a small village, and before you got home, your grandma knew everything. So I couldn't disrespect the family.
Even that kind of stuff your grandma would know?
Oh, the word spread like wildfire in those small communities. You would get home and your grandmother already knew where you went, who you were with. I don't know how they did it, but yeah.
They
In the
saw you
sugarcane
walking
fields
into a
with the
field.
boys.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't
Exactly.
think
There was some-
she reject 2 times got a sex, one in the sugar cane. Ay, please.
So this next person, one true thing. I love translation. One false thing. They had a role in a Mexican telenovela. I know exactly who that is.
That is Arianna
That
Lint.
My
is-
boss, Arianna
is
Lint.
Because I love people, they don't understand how they have to subscribe to this channel. You don't know how difficult for me is reading teleprompter. Be in the rehearsals, you know, it's a lot of work. So
Oh my God!
so that's why I love. Why you laughing? People, they don't believe me. Okay, the truth is, everybody told me I look like a telenovela, but I never have a role in the telenovela.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's
But it's
coming.
so difficult, really read a teleprompter. So please, at least for me, subscribe and watch in translation. Thank you.
For you.
And the role with the telenovela is definitely coming after our stint with Telemundo.
Oh, I love
That's
Coming.
coming for sure.
few Botox sessions.
So this next person, one true thing, they speak 4 languages. One false thing, they've lived in 6 states. Who is this?
Tobias.
I don't think it's Tobias. I think Tobias is the next card. Who's this?
I don't
Who's you,
think she is
Misty Eyez?
speaking 4 languages.
Okay, but let me clarify.
Oh, no. What language?
No, stop.
Let me see what
No, no, no.
language.
Mira, mira, mira.
word.
Mira, aquí. Aquí. We were told list 1 true thing and 1 false thing. We weren't told the first thing
that's
is
true.
true, the
That's
second thing is
true.
false.
Ah, okay.
He said which one was true, which one was false.
Ah, okay.
He got them backwards. Now try it again, Tony. Say it the right way.
Oh, so you mean me reading the card as it's written is the wrong way?
Play it again, Tony.
Okay, so you've lived in
1 true
6
thing
states.
and 1 false thing.
Fine.
I didn't tell you which one's which.
Got it. Okay, so you've lived in 6 states.
I've lived in
Yeah.
6
Where
states.
have you lived?
I lived in Iowa. I've lived in Alaska. That's where I'm from. Lived there the longest. My dad was a minister. We moved around a lot. So Iowa, Indiana, Kentucky, Oklahoma, and Florida.
Wow.
Wow. Like the whole white way and then Florida.
The Bible Belt. Bam.
There you go. Awesome.
The white way.
And
please-
finally, of course.
Yeah.
Tell us about attending a woman's college.
I went to Smith College.
Of course you did. You're brilliant. That makes a lot of sense.
I actually was there on a very generous scholarship package, and just a little flavor. I was not intending on going to college. Initially, I was going to be a truck driver.
Oh, that's sexy.
Wow.
Seeking that masculine.
I love.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a truck driver to be a guy.
Well, you know, I didn't know that at the time. But no, I went to Smith College, and it was an amazing experience. Yeah.
And
long
you're
did you
not
go
a
there?
pilot.
I'm not a pilot. No. How long was I there? What did you say? Oh,
Did
4
you
years.
graduate?
Yeah, I graduated. Yeah, I was there for 4 years.
Well, I didn't know because you weren't planning on going.
No, I was there for 4 years, and it was actually when I moved there was the first time I saw snow.
Here in
Where is
Florida?
It was in Massachusetts.
Smith College.
Shout out to truck drivers. They're very important.
They are.
My
They
aunt's
are
a truck
very
driver.
important.
I thought she was going to say, shout out to Smith College.
Well-
Those women are brilliant.
Yeah,
They
well,
are.
they are too. But listen, when you go to the market and the food isn't there, it's because of truck
It's because of the
drivers.
truck
Yeah,
drivers.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
true. I'm the son of a truck driver.
Oh,
I must
wow.
And De Silva.
Oh.
I love your mother. I'm
Oh,
just
I
kidding.
know. You
Oh,
love me
she's
too.
so sweet.
That sounds like an Al
Hi,
Ferguson
Mom.
comment. We'll ignore it. Next up, the mission of translation is to give our beautiful trans community the voice they deserve. So this is our segment called What's on Your Mind? I'm going to ask each of the unique and diverse hosts to tell us what we should be thinking about this week. Here we go. Misty, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind is actually very personal to me. This week, I have accomplished a task that has taken me 24 years to accomplish. After telling myself I was stupid and dumb and mentally handicapped, and I convinced myself I didn't want this, I finally did this. August 1994 was my freshman year of college, and this week, I graduated.
Congratulations.
Mazel tov.
I feel like I'm gonna cry.
Amazing.
We're so proud of you.
Oh my God.
But I didn't learn how to read until I was in 4th grade.
Oh, Misty.
It's really difficult for me to read too. I'm dyslexic, and I've been told I was stupid my whole life.
That's why I'm explaining to the people, they don't understand how to read
Exactly.
teleprompter.
Thank you for bringing me back, Arianna.
Yes.
But I didn't think it was going to be so important to me.
Yeah.
But we don't have to be the stereotype. We don't have to be the cliche. We can do it. We can prove ourselves in a cis-normative, heteronormative world. We can be the exception to the rule.
Missy, that's quite a feat. We're all so proud of you.
Management and supervision degree this week.
And wait, there's more.
Yes, I'm starting my master's program for the executive program. They saw my resume and they're like, you really should apply for the executive program. I'm like, what does that mean? And they're like, everyone that's in the executive program has had at least 5 years experience in their field as leaders and managers and whatever. And I'm like, well, sure, I'll apply for that. And I got it. And scholarships and things allotted. I start on the day I get off the boat. I'm rewarding myself. I'm going on a cruise because I graduated. And I get off the boat and start registration, like bam, like back into school, like a week break, and that's it.
And we're all gonna work for you someday.
Maybe.
Lady boss
Executive fish,
extraordinaire.
honey. Here we go.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Arianna, what's on
Oh
your
my
mind?
God.
Well, you know about Misty, I think it's so important. Education is so important. Like she say, right? You don't have to be the exception. But I think the common and the transgender community is not because they want or they deserve. It's because you have to fight and deserve everything, because education is your insurance, and we are so proud when somebody have the education, have the master, have the opportunity, and that is so important. So congratulations, Misty. We are a transgender person. We are so proud about you and about everything what you did.
Tobias, what's on your mind?
I just have to be honest. What's on my mind is the Trans Collaborative Network conference this weekend. My colleagues and I have been working towards this for 18 months, and we're just so proud of what we'll be able to provide for the community and really look forward to growing it. So if you're curious about it, go to transcollaborative.org. Please come out and join us. We're right across the street from where the caucus conference is happening, so if you feel torn between both, you can come back and forth.
You can go to both. And is everyone welcome at the
Everyone
conference?
is welcome, but please, trans people, join us.
Rajee, what's on your mind?
Wow. Okay, so first I just want to comment real quick about this whole thing, constitutional right, how it's an infringement to wear a mask, people going around saying it's against their constitutional right. And I'm like thinking, hello, you're doing these sort of things for the greater good of humanity, and sometimes it might be a little uncomfortable, but it's for the greater good. And I want to make this about Misty too. Misty, I'm just so happy for you. I really am. I tried to go to college back in the 90s, and I couldn't take the heckling and all of the bullying that they put me through. And when I see someone like you doing it, it's just, you are like hope for a lot of trans people that still want to go to school. So, sis, just, continued success, and I'm just overjoyed.
My first day of registration, I was sitting there waiting for the advisor, and a mom asked me if my kid was coming out, how long my child was in there. And I looked at her and I said, I'm next. It's hard. There's multiple barriers. Also, the first time I went to school, I had a different name. It's not easy, but it's worth it, Rajee. And if you want help, I can help you. I might even be able to get you a full ride to Broward
Honey,
College.
let me tell you something. They'll be wheeling me in a wheelchair. I don't know if I can deal with it. Anyway, I'm just so proud of you. Congratulations, my sister. Congratulations.
At TRANSlation, our hope is to connect members of the transgender community around the world with the community at large. So tonight, we're going transcontinental with a special interview. Please welcome Jacob Nash to TRANSlation.
Jacob.
Jacob Nash lives as an out transgender man in Akron, Ohio, and has a master's degree in psychology diversity management. He is an advocate and activist for transgender, non-binary, and gender expansive individuals. Having been outed as a transgender individual on local television in 2002, he knows and understands what it's like to be discriminated against. That act is what propelled him to do the work he does today, becoming that accidental activist.
In 2011, Jacob and his wife Erin co-founded a nonprofit called Margie's Hope, which assists transgender, non-binary, and gender-expansive individuals in need. Then, as a result of many conversations with community members and the need to keep trans folks safe, in February 2020, Margie's Hope held an event called Margie's Closet, which allowed trans, non-binary, and gender-expansive individuals the opportunity to come to a safe space, try on donated clothing, and walk away with new clothes that felt comfortable in and represented who they are.
Since the event was so successful, on June 5th, 2021, Margie's Hope opened its first retail store, and it's called Margie's Closet. Congratulations.
Welcome, Jacob Nash, to Translation. How are you this evening?
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here. It's wonderful to be on your show, and I'm just thank you.
Well, it's our pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining us tonight. So, did you have any intention of becoming an activist initially?
No, actually, when I started my transition, I wanted to just blend into the woodwork. You know, I transitioned in 1990. And back then, there were not very many visible trans men, and I did not want to be one of them. But when you're outed on local TV, it's kind of hard to not do that.
Yeah, there's no turning back at that point, huh?
Correct.
So tell us about your organization. Who is Margie that the organization and store are named after?
So the organization and are named after my mother, Margie.
Oh, what a beautiful tribute.
Yeah, she was so supportive and loving and encouraged me to be who it was I am. And she never once ever stopped me from becoming myself. You know, she used to tell me when I was, you know, don't worry about what anybody else says. You march to the beat of your own drummer. And so she was the one that instilled me the social justice work that I do. She's the one that instilled me all of my values that I have and the desire to help my community. So when my wife suggested naming it after her, I thought, what a wonderful her.
And how did this all come about? What inspired you to start this entire effort that was inspired by your mom?
So, Erin and I probably housed about a dozen or so young youth from the time we moved into our house in 2000 until about 2010. And because of that, I knew that we needed to do more for the community, that just to have a support group was not enough. And so our desire, our ultimate goal someday is to open transitional, because in the state of Ohio, there are very few folks for trans to go to for a safe space, especially our home. So we started about what the community needed, and we started support groups. We started a resource center. We doing trainings and consulting, and you know, because of the support groups that we provide for our parents, for our, you know, we have a whole youth program, partners and spouses group, as well as specifically for the trans community. We then came to knowledge of having to Margie's Closet because we were talking to folks in the community about having this need for safe places for individuals to be able to either get clothing and accessories for free, to get them at a very low cost, and especially to be able to go into a space, feel safe, and to be able to try them on.
And what's next for Margie's Closet? Is your intention to take over Ohio?
Well, we are the first of its kind in Ohio with regard to the retail. But, whatever we can do to reaching out to the community and serving it, getting services that may get lost between the cracks because we don't think about certain services like clothing, food, housing. We talk about doctors and, hormones and names and such, but we don't think about the everyday things that people, especially within our community, and especially those that are homeless, we really need to step up and serve them better.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the beautiful life-affirming work that you're doing, Jacob. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us tonight here on Translation. Good luck with your beautiful organization, and you have our complete support.
I appreciate it, and it's been being here today.
Thanks, Jacob. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Jacob.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Great work.
Up next, we are going to do a lightning round of some of the trans topics in the news. We call this segment Trans Poppin' Fresh. So we're going to tell you a headline in the news this week and discuss it. But there's a twist. We only get to discuss it for 1 minute. Everyone understand?
Yeah.
I look at you, Rajee. I look at you.
I do.
Trans Twitter recently went wild over a new product created by a trans person that had everyone confused. So Trans Poppin' Fresh headline, what the hell is a pronoun water?
Okay, I love this, and I am also very confused by this. Okay, no, I think pronouns are super important. He, she, they, I get them, I teach them, I talk about it every single day. But what I'm confused about, and I love that a trans person created this. Go, you, male or female, I don't know who you are. Yeah. Pronouns. Go, they. Anyways, the part that confuses me is this is clearly not catered to the trans community because what trans person go out there and buy a $30 water bottle? But if our allies are looking for allyship and they want to show the world that they are whatever pronoun they are, I think this is brilliant and it's amazing and it makes me want to get a sponsorship and buy all the doctors that I teach. Here's your pronoun water.
That's a great idea.
That would be awesome.
I
but
would
also,
carry...
I can't buy a $30 bottle of water.
No, it's a bit steep, but I think this is like such a great product. It's like wearing like one of those badges that says your pronoun, right? Except it's something useful.
Think about it. I mean, it's like, you're making a statement and you're not really making a big thing about it because the water bottle is there. People are going to read it. So it's like, you're declaring your pronouns, but you're not making a big deal.
Well, also but to just go back what you were saying, Tony, normalizing pronouns, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That everybody should be sharing their pronouns so that it's etiquette amongst just folks.
I think it's hardest on the they, them, theirs because they have to explain. If they just, here's a water bottle right there, they, them, there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The $30 price tag, though, quite expensive. You might want to rethink that. Making this water.
They better be union made if they're $30.
Right. Jamie Lee Curtis recently revealed that she will be officiating the wedding of her youngest daughter. So Trans Poppin' Fresh headline, Jamie Lee Curtis says she watched her child transition in wonder and pride as a trans woman.
I mean, awesome.
Exactly.
What else is to say about that, right? Like a parent who we all know and seen in movies is supporting their child and not saying, oh, I struggled with it, but I watched in wonder and pride. That's such a beautiful sentiment.
Right. That's usually what people say. Oh, I struggled with this. I struggled with that. But this is just complete celebration from someone who's iconic in the American film industry.
Yeah. What I love is that when someone famous, they have a child that comes out as trans, it kind of shows that, like, this thing can touch anyone. Like, because they're famous, they're not excluded. And the same thing with Sade. Sade has a trans son. A number of people.
Cher.
Yeah.
Cher.
So I think it's a great thing.
I love it.
I also think it's funny that she has a lot of rumors that she's intersex. A lot of people think she's intersex. I'm like, and when I first read that, when she's like, as a trans woman, I'm like, wait, is she coming out as trans? I was so confused. And I read the article, and because when I teach about intersex, people are like, wait, Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm like, I would never out a person who hasn't publicly outed themselves. That is rumor and speculation. I don't know that Jamie Lee herself is trans, but I love it. And also, as a person that has gotten married, I have 4 sisters that are younger than me. I was the last girl to get married, and my mother was able to come to the wedding, and she's like, I had more fun at your wedding because I got to do all the things I wanted to do for my daughters, and none of them allowed my mother to do. So I love this story. It's beautiful.
It is a beautiful story, and you had like the best wedding ever.
Oh.
I was in it.
I was just there. For some in the LGBTQ+, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was a triumph. For others, the Trump trans ban was weaponized against them. So Trans Pop and Fresh headline, House resolution apologizes for treatment of LGBTQ troops and federal workers. What do we think about
Heck
this?
yeah, they should apologize. Look, the federal government and the military are the largest employer in our nation. No matter how you feel about the military, and I've got my own feelings about it.
Of course.
They employ more people than anyone else. And so in order to not just have a non-discrimination policy, but to actively apologize for the harm and wrong that have been done to us, that's a great thing.
Have you heard that song? It's too late to apologize. I'm just kidding. Thank you for your apology. A bit too late, but also thank you. It's too late.
Well, that's it. Translation. This unique forum is a first ever experiment to bring the trans community voice forward. Whether the news, politics, healthcare, mental health, entertainment, and the countless other streams of the trans community and your lives, Translation will be here to explore it all, to talk about it, to laugh, and to cry. We are in this together. You are not alone. We end tonight's show with what we call Translation Challenge, to simply help the trans community to have an opportunity to say goodnight to each other, to remind us how incredible the world of trans really is. A good night from Misty Eyez.
Buenas noches. And I want you to look in the mirror, whoever you are, ally, straight person looking at our gorgeousness, or one of us, a sibling. Look in the mirror and say, I am beautiful. And you are. You are worthy, and you deserve everything the world has to offer you.
A good night from Arianna Lint.
Well, I want to say thank you so much and good night to everybody. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel and also watching us in the next show in September, right? September, yes. So please follow us very soon. The telenovela is coming.
A good night from Tobias Packer.
I just want to say, please come to our conference. Listen, I know folks need name changes and legal help. We've got it for you. I know you want a free lunch.
Sure.
But also we've got
breakfast.
some really awesome workshops talking about sex, talking about doing some theater together. We've got drag. We're going to have a heck of a lot of fun, but also get some good stuff done for you as well. So join us, transcollaborative.org.
And a good night from Rajee Narine-Singh.
So I sit here with a heavy heart tonight. A friend of mine over the weekend lost her young son in a car crash. And he was in his early 20s. And my prayers go out to her. And I just want to say that to everyone, trans, LGBTQ, and everyone, that we're just passing through. And every moment is a gift. So live your life to the fullest. Don't take today for granted, because yesterday's gone and tomorrow isn't here. The present is the gift. So love, peace, and blessings.
Well, that's it. And a special good night from Arianna Center, the sponsors of Translation. I wanted to also announce that our 6th anniversary celebration that was supposed to take place on Thursday, August 12th, has been postponed because of the surge with coronavirus. We will be back at the Center for Spiritual Living on Thursday, November 18th, to finally celebrate those 6 years of service to our community, so stay tuned.
We need your help to support this broadcast. We invite you to reach out to sponsor, like, and share this amazing show. Are you going to help the trans community?
Hey L's, hey G's, hey B's, and Q's. Are you going to support your T's? If you believe you believe trans rights are human rights, then translation is for you.
Share this broadcast, talk about it, like it, and tell the entire LGBTQ community and our allies there is something new.
Fox News cannot be the only voice. Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, and Laura Ingraham cannot be the ones who define us. The trans community deserves more.
We hope you agree. If you do, we will see you the first Thursday of every month at 9 p.m. providing translation. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Namaste.